What's cracking with your snacker stars? It's me, the BRE, the man in the backwards hat, Brandon from the sAs, Snack Food Appreciation Society, coming at you once again for another edition of Pizza Night. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Pizza Night, I'll be checking out something from not the freezer aisle, but the regular grocer's aisle. In fact, the deli section. The deli section of Target. That's where I got my pizza tonight, but it's from a famous restaurant too. I'll be right back right after this to let you know which one. Right after this. Never fear, Pizza Night's here. Go ahead and grab yourself a can of beer for Friday night, January 12th, 2018, 2 weeks into the new calendar year. And ladies and gentlemen, it's actually quite warm out there today, more than 60 degrees outside. Very, very warm considering it snowed last weekend in this area. It's not a frozen Friday because this pizza came out of the refrigerated section at Target. It is an Uno pizza from Uno Pizzeria and Grill. It's their ultimate pepperoni, the handcrafted one. And this is a large rectangular style pizza. Some folks may call that Sicilian style. This also kind of is reminiscent of a large flatbread type pizza. Pepperoni, of course, ultimate pepperoni, lots of pepperonis on there. Being that it's not frozen, those pepperonis have taken quite a tumble. Let me go ahead and tell you about the cooking instructions. Right now I am preheating the oven to 350 degrees as directed. They want me to remove the film and place the pan, which is included, very, very convenient, in a preheated 350 degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, underneath this little deli thing, it says if frozen, add about 10 minutes or until pizza reaches 160 degrees. Alright guys, let me go ahead and zip this plastic off real quick and replace these pepperonis and make them make a little more sense, and I'll show it to you before I put it in the oven. Alright, there you go. I got the plastic off of it. I have put the pepperonis in a more sensible order. One thing I've noted is that you can see parts of the crust, such as right there, sticking up through the cheese there, and that makes me think there's not a ton of sauce on there. In fact, in one of those areas, you kind of see an area of sauce runoff, I guess you would say. That's going to be an interesting thing to discover. Also, looks like there might be some pizzeria-style bubbles back here towards the corner. I'm excited about this. I hope the oven hurries up, gets itself preheated so I can stick this thing in here and see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, I've got this Uno handcrafted pepperoni pizza, ultimate pepperoni in fact, pizza out of the oven. Got it at Target for $7.99. Saw it there last weekend when I was there with my girlfriend. I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to review that for Pizza Night, and sure enough, I went back and got it today, and it was still there. Looks like I got a fresh one because the pepperonis were nice and red compared to the one on top, where the pepperonis had faded quite a bit. As you can see, I put those pepperonis back. Now, this thing was in the oven for about 17 minutes overall. I did 7 minutes the first time, turned it around, 7 minutes again. The cheese in this area didn't seem to want to melt very much. So after that, I put it in for another 2 minutes and then decided to put it into the broiler on low for about 30 seconds. And that resulted in the extra meltage over here on this side, as well as the darkened spots. I do like browned cheese, so that's okay. However, what it did not result in for me is any kind of curlage or singeing on the pepperonis, and I wish it had a little bit, but that'll be okay, I guess. Pepperoni's pepperoni, and I like pepperoni, you know what I'm saying? Alright, let me see if I can't carve a piece out of this thing and show you what it looks like. Alright, now I have noticed upon cutting this up that it's not very crispy, and despite the fact that I pretty much followed the instructions to the T outside of putting it in the broiler after the fact, the bottom of this pie is not very well cooked. It's not golden brown at all, and it's very, very soft. I hope that's edible. I don't have anything, honestly, to tell the temperature of this particular pizza, but it is very hot on top. The cheese everywhere was melted before I put it in the broiler, except for here, and the crust was already starting to brown up on the top, so I didn't even bother to check the bottom, you know? Maybe if I didn't cook it in this funky pan, it would have turned out better. I'm not really sure, but let me go ahead and put a piece of this over here on the plate. As you can see, extremely floppy. Lots and lots of cheese on there. Browned edges, and the works. Alright guys, let me see how this tastes, if it's even edible, and then I'll let you know more about it right after this on Pizza Night. Alright gang, I am back, and once again I am trepidatious about this Uno pizza. You know, right off the bat when I was reading the instructions for heating this thing, I was like, 350 degrees seems like a fairly low temperature to really get this thing going, and for the most part I think that's what's happened here. I don't think 350 was the proper heating point because the backside is just pathetic looking. It's very pale and it is doughy. I will tell you that right now. Maybe to the point of not being edible. But I'm going to go ahead and try it as it is. You know, maybe if I feel like it later on, I'll put it in the oven again with some foil over top of it and see if that helps the situation at all. But at this point, I don't know so much about that. Alright guys, let me go ahead and take a bite of this thing, let you know what I think. You know, it's a shame that the directions are a little funky because this is a really tasty pizza. It's just not completely cooked. You know, when I do reheat this later on for my own personal eating, I'm sure it'll be fantastic because I'm going to wrap it up with some foil and probably ditch this pan, to tell you the honest to God truth. And that's where I'm going to probably have to deduct points for this thing, is for the pan. Even though it's a convenience, it gets in the way, I think, here, and for the heating instructions, because this is something that you have to actually bake. You're not just reheating it. And I can kind of see that you would want a slightly lower temperature for that. But I think 400 might have been a better starting point for this particular pizza, because, man, the bottom of this thing did just not get done. Easy for you to say. The upper top is done, especially after I put it in the broiler, in the dough. But building it from the bottom to the top, the crust, it seems like it would be a decent sort of pizzeria crust, even though it's, you know, stretched out like a flatbread. It's got some bubbles in it. It's got some, you know, kind of organic happenings that happen to a hand-tossed pizza crust. And it has a good flavor, a little bit of a floury, bleachy kind of flavor, and I don't know if that would change with cooking it longer or what, but the top part is certainly done, and that gives you a good idea with a slight crackery taste to it, and you know, not very salty, not very chewy on the top part, but certainly doughy and not quite done on the bottom. The sauce is absent here. I can smell it, but it's almost completely absent on some parts of the pie, it looks like, and it's a very dry sauce that does not reconstitute, you know, very well as it's heating up. It's kind of sweet from what I can tell, but there's just not enough of it on there, and that actually results in a fairly dry pizza because it's just not quite lubricated enough, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, not quite lubricated enough on that, but tasty from what I can tell. The cheese is good because it actually coagulated together really nicely in all sections except for that one little odd spot. Maybe there just wasn't enough laid down in that spot or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, other than that spot, it actually helped create a little bit of a stretch and pull to it rather than breaking down and kind of becoming clumpy the way a lot of frozen and refrigerated pizza cheeses do over time. Good flavor to it, slightly smoky, a little bit of funk to it, which I always like on my pizza, so that's good too. Pepperoni is okay. I actually feel like that too is a victim of the low cooking temperature. Could have become a little more leathery for me, and a little. It's not very salty. It's kind of natural tasting or something. Something's not quite jiving with me on that. It needs some more nitrates or something to really taste like a good pepperoni. I don't know. All in all, though, it's a good pizza otherwise, and I gotta just penalize it for poor cooking instructions, in my opinion, and for this tray, which I don't think worked out well for the cooking instructions that you were provided. So I'm giving it a 3/4 thumbs up. So imagine how good it could have done had it had better instructions and maybe not this weird pan. Alright, well thank you so much for watching Pizza Night. Let me know if you think I'm just bonkers and I cooked it wrong. I don't know how I could have cooked it wrong. But let me know that down below in the comments. Also, ladies and gentlemen, hit thumbs up if you love pizza. Also, make sure that you check out all of our exploits on the Snack Society social media network, including Facebook. Click on the link down below. Join our Facebook page and you can become the #1 snacker star in the world. It's just that easy. Also, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check me out on Twitter and Instagram at BrandonReich sAs. When you do that, make sure you use the handy hashtag Snack Society all day, every day. That way you know what we're eating and we know what you're eating too. So, in the meantime, in between time, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. You're going back in the oven.